Hey, this is William Naden, and now we're moving on and we're going to learn how to record music. So this is what we've been waiting for. So again, from last video, there are two types of tracks that we use to make sound. One is the audio track and one is the MIDI track. So we're going to go ahead and delete this MIDI track because we're not going to use it this video. We're only going to focus on the audio track. So above the track listings, there's a little plus button, and you can use that to select a new track that you want to create, and you can create an audio or an instrument or MIDI track. So we're not going to worry about instrument for now. We're just going to focus on audio. Below is a drop-down menu for inputs. Now this is going to select the input of the new track we're creating. And as you can see, it shows us our driver that we have installed in our preferences that we've enabled. Okay, so typically on like a smaller centerpiece for my Babyface Pro, it has 4 outputs. So it has left and right for the first one, so 1, 2, and then it has 3 and 4 left and right, and for the line ends. Okay, so for the first inputs, it's going to use XLR connection. Okay, so this is what an XLR cable looks like. It's gonna be very fat. There's going to be a male connector and a female connector. So this is the female end, the microphone out is going to connect to the female end, and the input, the male connector, is going to plug into the centerpiece. Okay, so for the line inputs, the line ends are going to look like this. They're the same. Now, as you notice, there's only one ring around these cables. Sometimes they have 2 rings. Okay, so you just be aware. Now, for guitar, it works well to have just the 1 ring, because that's really all you need. And so in the options here for the first and second output for our centerpiece, there's going to be the left and the right. And that's going to be 1 and 2. Now if we're plugging something into both at the same time, then we're going to select stereo. But a microphone really only has 1 output. Okay, so we're only going to need 1 cable for the microphone. So that's why we're just going to select the left. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create that. Now you can always change the input in this drop down menu on the track. Okay, so let's say you wanted to create another microphone, because you're going to layer it. Okay, so what you can do is that you can highlight which track you want. Okay, and then you, next to the plus, the add track, there's the duplicate track. Okay, so it's going to duplicate whichever track you have highlighted. You can hold shift, or you can drag click, there we go, and these numbers have to be highlighted, and then if you hit duplicate, it's going to duplicate those, and they're all going to have the same settings. They're all going to have the same inputs, as well as whatever effects you add. So for now, I'm just going to undo that. We don't need all those tracks. Okay, so a microphone can record anything. It can record your voice. It can record whatever instrument you're using. You can even put the microphone up to a guitar amp or a speaker and record that way. The only thing that you have to be aware of is that you're going to need a quiet place that doesn't have any interfering sounds. Okay. Another thing to note is phantom power. So for your centerpiece, maybe there's a little button or a switch that enables phantom power. So for condenser microphones, they need extra juice. And so I'll pull up my software for my Babyface Pro. It has a little button here, 48V. Maybe it'll say plus 48V on your hardware or your software, and you want to enable that. Now also, there's going to be a gain function. So when you first enable it, you might not be able to hear yourself so clearly. So sometimes you want to turn up the gain, okay? But not too much. typically I like to turn it up just enough so that I can hear myself clearly, but not too much where I start hearing all the artifacts and weird room noise and weird room tone that I don't want to record that stuff. Okay, so I just want my voice to come through clearly, and that's it. I don't want anything else. So just make sure that phantom power is enabled. For a dynamic microphone, typically that you'll see on like a stage, it's going to look like this. You know, you hold it very close and they sing into it. That which also, you know, has the XLR output, right? And then you plug in this end into your centerpiece or your amplifier. These dynamic microphones do not need phantom power because it just works differently. But for the condenser microphone, which is recommended to use for recording, you're going to need phantom power, okay? So we're going to enable recording, and you're probably going to hear double of me. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. So you're going to enable recording to allow recording, and then the input echo is what's going to allow us to hear ourselves back. So if you just enable recording, you're not going to hear what you're putting into the microphone or what you're playing as you're playing it. But if you enable the input echo, which is this little button to the next to the arm record, then you're going to hear it. So now you probably hear two of me. All right. So we can press record, and we can hit R for record. That's the shortcut. Or we can just click up top and hit record. Hello, how's it going? We can hit space, and that'll stop the recording. So I'm just gonna turn off the input echo so you only hear one of me. We can hit space and hear ourselves back. Hello, how's it going? Wow. Okay, so like I said before, you can record anything into a microphone. So I'm going to grab my guitar. Okay, so you can record physical things. Okay, so I can just record my guitar into my microphone, or I can plug my guitar into the centerpiece using the line inputs. Okay, so for starters, I'm just going to record using the microphone. And there we have created a sound, a WAV file. We can listen back to it. And we can edit it as we please. And we can move it around the timeline. And voila. Now, let us take a look at how to, so we need a new track, because if we want to record line in, it'll need a new input. So I'm going to add track. I'm going to audio. I'm going to select which input. It's going to be the third one on the left. So that's for the line inputs. Okay, so now I'm going to plug in my guitar. Okay, and I'm just going to play the same thing. I can mute this track. I'm recording. And I'm going to play the same thing and see how it goes. Okay, so you can record either way, as well as you can record both at the same time. Okay, so I can record both the microphone and the line input, and then we'll talk. Okay, so I'm going to show you the difference is that if we go to our take and we mute the line input and we're just listening to the microphone recording, okay, and now we'll listen to the line input. Okay, so it's very different. And so if you listen to them both together, it's a good combination. So you can arm as many things as you want at the same time to record, and you're going to more or less record the same thing, but the way that you record them is going to be a little different. So it depends what you want, okay? So just a couple things to note. For the line inputs, right, you're going to want to know your instrument. So you're going to need the volume to be all the way up. You know, electric guitars will have a little knob that you can use, as well as maybe there's equalizing on the guitar, so the highs, mids, and lows. So as you can tell, it sounded a little mellow in the line inputs. Maybe the highs weren't high enough, you know. So it's good to check on those things, okay? And so you just play and hear how it sounds, and that's the basics of audio recording to get you started. And so last piece of advice is just play with the metronome. That will be your best friend in recording, because as you layer more tracks on top of each other and you create harmonies and you pan things and you change the volumes, it all needs to be in time. It needs to be perfect. And so hopefully this will help you just get you into it and get you playing, okay? All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.